am already seeing parents coming out of Toy Story 5 and coming on here and saying that their kids didn't learn the lesson of they need to be playing with toys more than being on technology and their tablets, and that they didn't care, and like, oh, my kid's still like on their iPad all the time. The message wasn't for the kids, dog. It was for you. It was for you, the parent, that you need to be monitoring how much your kid is on the damn tablet. A huge part of the movie is that Bonnie gets online bullied. Yeah. And you want to know why? It's because their parents were not monitoring their children's tablet. They weren't monitoring what Bonnie was doing on her tablet. They gave her the lily pad. The only times throughout the film that they told her to get off the lily pad was when it was time for dinner and it was time to go to bed. And you want to know why? It's because they were also on their own devices, being distracted by their phones and tablets and computers and stuff, and they're not there, like, mentally to deal with their kid because they're distracted by technology. The message of the film isn't that technology is bad, it's that there needs to be a healthy balance of both, because Bonnie experiences isolation by not having a lily pad to socially connect online with her classmates, because there's like an online like chat situation, so that's isolating, right? Then she receives the lily pad. She's on the lily pad all the time, she's playing games like morning till night, and that is also in turn extremely isolating because she's not having that face-to-face time that is stunting her social development. So it's not like one or the other you need in this world to like make friends. You need a healthy balance of both, because in the film later on, she makes a friend that she would have not met otherwise without technology, because they don't go to the same school, but they have very similar interests. And it was being online that connected them, but then they had a healthy balance of hanging out in person and using technology to like take photos of their time together, having like a play date and like making memories, that kind of thing. And the only way to have that healthy balance is if you, the parent, get off of your damn phone, because maybe it is that damn phone, and you start establishing a healthy balance between having your kids play with physical toys and then having a tablet to like play games online and all that kind of stuff. And that starts with you, dog. It starts with you.
Okay. I think the movie is doing what it's supposed to do, is starting conversation. Yeah, I got one more video that's talking about it, then I'll give my thoughts. Let me play that video for you. All right. Here we go. Uh-oh. Sometimes this thing can be a little tricky for me. Gotcha.
Just got home from watching Toy Story 5, and let me say, that movie just pissed me the fuck off, right? Everything that happened to Bonnie was not only entirely preventable, but it was entirely the parents' fault, okay? Yeah, your daughter's a little strange. She can't make friends with the weird neighborhood kids who are snotty as hell. So you go and buy her an iPad. You don't try to get her to make other friends elsewhere? Okay, fine. Whatever. My kids have an iPad, whatever. But the day she gets her iPad, never been on it before, and you let that girl be on it for 24 hours straight. She doesn't even go to sleep. You don't monitor her. You don't have her take a break, nothing. And from that moment on, she is on that iPad. She's taking it everywhere with her. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. She's taking it in the car, and you don't care. Then she goes to the sleepover. You just drop her off at the door. You don't even go in to talk to the parents. Weird. Why would you do that? Okay. And then when Bonnie gets home and she's clearly traumatized, she's like, I don't want to talk about it. You're just like, okay, okay, cool. You don't care about what happened to her. What the hell are you guys doing? You could have literally prevented all of that if you literally paid attention to your daughter. I don't know. I'm very pro screen. My kids use screens all the time. I'm not even gonna lie, but I've never encountered situations like this because I'm a very proactive parent. And my kids still play with toys too. And I don't know. I just feel like the parents really pissed me off, and I just didn't like it.
It's a movie. It's a movie, and it's doing its part by making people have conversation. I think that's the great part. Now, I haven't seen the movie, but I'm down to have a conversation. I do think, like with anything else, there needs to be checks and balances. There needs to be structure. There needs to be boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. And we need that with technology. If we as adults need it, how much more do children need it? How much more do they need our guidance, on what's healthy, what's not? Of course, when they get grown, they can do whatever they want. But when we teach them, and of course, I don't have any children, so I find myself talking about this conversation. I don't even have kids. I just, sometimes certain things you don't need to have to be able to speak to, and I think this is one of those topics. You know, um, I think it's good when movies lead to deeper conversation. I think with conversation and communication, you're able to you definitely can move the needle forward in society and get help and just bring awareness and our eyes be open to things that maybe they were closed to, and it's doing that part. I think as a parent, you bear the responsibility of setting your child up in the right way in terms of habits and disciplines. Like you do bear that responsibility to give them, to almost like be a guardrail to their own lack of development, because they're still growing, and to a degree they don't know what's good and what's bad for them sometimes. So as a parent, it is your responsibility to give them boundaries. And I just want to be the first one to say this. Well, not the first, but I'm gonna say this: parenting doesn't come with a handbook. Children are different. Parenting takes work. I don't need, to have kids to know that. I have nieces and nephews, and I've also been a child. It takes work. It takes time. It doesn't come with a handbook. You actually have to learn how to parent, your children. You don't get to parent them both the same. And with that being said, I think it's one of those things where you have to learn more about your child and how to stimulate them and how to teach them what's best. And maybe they don't need the same, maybe one child doesn't need the same kind of boundaries that another child has. I can't say for sure, but at the end of the day, just from what I've heard from experience, you don't parent two children the same. And I think the conversation about this technology thing is a real one, because I remember when I had to have neck surgery, I remember my surgeon telling me that the procedure they did on me, to where they pulled a disc out, now I have a metal disc. They were doing that surgery a lot on children, because they were on tablets and phones, and their necks is always down like this, and they end up blowing out one of the discs in their neck. That's not what happened with me, but he says very common, and it's because of the phones and the tablets and how they're posturing their body and their necks. So with that being said, I mean, overusage isn't good for anything. You can do something good and you can overdo it. So I think this is a great conversation. It's timely for both adults and children. I know Toy Story, I'm sure it's for children, I'm guessing, but there are plenty of adults. We all need to hear that message of like having a healthy balance when it comes to technology, and being able to be present. Like so much goes into this conversation, but I'll say this, and I'll let you. I'll leave it to the conversation in the comment section. I think the good thing is that we have I think this is somewhat of a good problem, right? To where we have this modern technology that's so powerful. Now, all we have to do is put in boundaries that keep us safe from not becoming antisocial, for not becoming addicted. And I know some people may say, well, that's not a good problem. I think it's a good problem to have, because without the technology, we aren't able to do some of the things that we're able to do. Like the young lady said earlier, the little girl in the movie was able to make a friend that she would have never met, but because she had that technology, that iPad, and it's similar to social media, we're able to make connections that we would never make if we didn't have it. So I think it's a good problem, but I do think it's a huge responsibility when it comes to children. Parents bear that responsibility, and as adults, we have to be intentional about making sure that we are managing technology properly. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I would surely love to hear what y'all have to say, especially you all who are parents. You can also connect with the brand online at www.there'shopebrand.com. There's merch on there. You can grab some merch. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you want to donate to this channel, you can also do that. That's in the description below. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.